All right, we're going to learn how to write the equation of a polynomial in factored form, such as the one presented here. What we're going to do first is we're going to look at the xIntercepts, and then we're going to write that as in factored form. So we have an x-intercept, it looks like at -1, so we'll write x equals -1, there's an x-intercept, but there is also a bounce there. So if you remember from class, when I mentioned a bounce means that you will have a degree 2 polynomial from this point. Then there is another bounce at x equals 2, so I will write that down. So we have another bounce here. And we're also given a point which is a y-intercept. So the point we are given is 0, 8. So let's go ahead and write a general equation in factored form, and then we will find the a value. So we can write that y equals to some a value times this x equals -1 means we have a factor at x plus 1, and because there is a bounce, then this will be a degree 2, and then we have another bounce at x equals 2, which means we can times that by a factor of x minus 2 and another square. Now, if you remember what a bounce means, it means that it touches the x-axis and then changes directions, such as right here. So we have one bounce here and another one here. All right, so now that we have an equation, we can use the point 0, 8, which is the same as an xy point, which is an ordered pair. Now we can choose any point on this graph. So when I mean any point, I mean any point on this graph will give us the a value of this graph. But because we're given an y-intercept, let's go ahead and plug the point 0, 8 into the equation. So our 8 is our y, so we can say that 8 is equal to a, and our x is 0, so we're left with 0 plus 1 squared, and then 0 minus 2 squared. Simplifying that, we can say that 8 equals 0 plus 1 squared is just 1. So that will give us a times 1. And 0 minus 2 squared is -2, and -2 squared is 4. So we actually have our equation simplified to a equals to 4a, and then if we divide by 4 on both sides, then our a value is equal to 2. Once we know the a value, we could just plug it in back into this equation here, and then we have our function which will match the graph. So let's go ahead and do that. So plugging in the a value here, we will have that y equals to 2 times x plus 1 squared times x minus 2 squared. And now we have the function written to match the graph.